Good evening, everybody. My name's Gary with Jolly Roger Ukulele. We are getting knee-deep into Book 1 and 2. Not so far into Book 2, but far enough to know that we are legit. Apologize for missing. I think I missed last week. I have been struggling with a cold. These days you don't get a cold like we used to. Back in the day you'd get a cold and then you'd be over it in 2 or 3 days. These days, super bug, right? And I'm like unbelievably, I'm out for a week every time I get a cold now. Maybe it's because I got something wrong with me, but who knows? I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're here tonight. I'm almost back. My nose is still full of, and we'll see if I make it tonight or not. We're gonna try to play. I think we got 5 songs on the agenda tonight. Out of Book 1, we're gonna wrap up Brahms' Lullaby. That's the I always feel like if I can get students to Brahms' Lullaby, if I can get you that far, if you don't quit for 11 lessons, then I think I got you, right? Because Brahms' Lullaby is really nice. Then we're going to go over Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle is a stupid song, but it has 2 really important pieces of information that you need to know how to play, that you need to have part of who you are as a ukulele player, and really as a musician. It's on any fretted instruments, talking about positional playing, and then of course about the legendary and exciting bar chord that comes up. In the second half on Book 2, we'll finish up playing Ash Grove, pretty hard song. We're going to do Danny Boy. We got March, we got, what do you call it? St. Patrick's Day coming up. And then Last Rose of Summer, just a really, really pretty song that I have kind of some sort of a personal affinity for. So we'll take a look at that. All right. So here we go. Let's see. Let's find out what we got. First of all, let's go in. I'm wearing a ukulele, right? So if that means if you have a baritone, then you are playing chords. And if you are playing a ukulele, you got 2 choices. You play melody or you play tough uke. Either one of those is what you are working on. Let's see. Let's open up my thingamabopper here. And let's get into the right playlist. By the way, if you haven't gotten an iPad and you're super rich, get an iPad. They are a foolish price. It's absolutely ridiculous how expensive these are. But they'll change your life as a musician. They really will. And I have a lot of people who are kind of resistant, and they're like, I don't think I want to go iPad. I don't want to get I don't want any more screen time. And then you realize if you don't, you have this giant 3-ring binder of paper you have to carry around. And you're sort of like, well, maybe I will rethink that just a little bit. All right, Brahms' Lullaby. I'm looking at the March 22nd, 2020 version. All of these sheets are going to get updated over the next, few months. A lot of the things will change. The only thing on this one, I've taught off of this sheet for years and years and years. The only thing that's going to change, the measure numbers are not how I like them, so we'll adjust the measure numbers. Other than that, everything in this piece is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And so let's play it. Okay. So as a reminder, if you are newer, thumb down is going to completely work on this song. If you've been around a while, using your claw position is important. Okay, you should be working on both of those as a new student. Play it first with your thumb, then with your claw position. If you are struggling a little bit, you want to be playing the melody first. And for most people, that's usually coming along pretty well, especially with this song. Everything's either 1, a 2, or a 3, and that's the only thing that happens. When you switch over to the tough uke, remember, we're going to have times when we put an F chord on, and our pinky is going to drop into that 3rd fret right there. Okay, it's going to look like this to you when I do it, but what I'm really doing is dropping my pinky onto that 3rd fret rather than my ring finger, because it gets very awkward to do it that way, and so we want to favor our pinky in this situation. Okay, so however you choose to play it is perfectly fine. Remember, if you're on baritone and you're playing chords, you're not paying attention to those grids. You're using your C chord and your F chord and your G7 chord. All right, from the top, nice and slow, take your time. always try to play along with me. Even if you fail and you need to jump up a measure or two, just continue to do that, because what that's going to teach you is, one, to stop worrying about mistakes. That's a huge part of the program. It's a huge part of being a musician. You're going to make mistakes. You just move on. Don't just... They're just not a thing, right? You just can't worry about them because they're all in the past, and you just move on. Less mistakes is better, but that's silly to even talk about, right? All right, from the top, 1, 2. Isn't that pretty? It's a nice little tune, and I think the nice part about it is that it's really legitimate classical music, and you're playing it really in a beautiful way. You don't have to rush. Take your time with it. If you have to play it slower, you play it slower. But that's about the speed where it starts to sound like a nice piece of music. And 1868, right? Brahms is doing a pretty decent piece of music. All right, if you are on ukulele, you now switch to chords. And I'm going to play the baritone sheet. So switch over to the baritone version of this. And it's in the key of G, right? And that means that for ukulele, you're going to be using your G chord, which you've learned at this point. Okay. And D7, you may or may not have covered that yet. Okay. Here and here. And then, I think, what's the other one? C chord. Yeah, plain old regular C chord. So those are your chord shapes. If you're on ukulele, you're just strumming one time per measure, right? Just making it beautiful as you can. Whoops. And I have my alarm set so to remind myself to go out and look at the sunset. I live now in Albuquerque for last little bit. There's nothing that I particularly love about Albuquerque, but we do have some pretty legit sunsets here. And so I have an alarm set to go out and check the sunset at this point in the night. And now with daylight savings, it's changed, so I got to be ready for it. All right, K-Moss, what's up? Glad you're here. All right, so let's keep going. Again, ukulele players, you're playing G chord, D7 chord, and a C chord. Baritone players, you're playing along with me, either just the melody, and usually you just use your thumb with your melody, or you're playing the tough uke section with the strum down or your claw. Okay, from the top, 1, 2. That's a good song. Okay, and again, if you have been playing through the program and you get to this lesson, you're golden. There's going to be harder chords coming up. There's going to be a couple of new and more difficult techniques coming up. But for the most part, if you're playing Brahms Lullaby, you're ready to be a lifelong ukulele player. And stuff does get harder than this. But the concepts and the theory behind it, this is the foundation, right? You've built everything you need, with the exception of very few things, to really make a nice life just playing ukulele. And by playing it this way, you're never going to get bored. The problem with strumming and singing is at some point you learn all your chords and there's just not that much else to learn, and so it's all about the singing. But when you're playing it instrumentally, when you're forcing yourself to do the hard work of getting the instrument to do all the work for you, it never gets boring. It literally never gets boring. Today I was working on something, I don't remember what it was. Something on guitar, I think. And I found myself completely engaged in the sheet music, in the writing of it, and thinking about how best to handle all of these things. And I've been doing this a long time, and it's still that same sense of joy of approaching a piece of music and saying, how can I get the most out of this, out of my sheet music, out of the guitar, out of whatever kind of music I'm trying to create. And it's just exciting. I mean, what you have here is really, really cool. Okay. Now, Brahms Lullaby. Okay, hopefully that's going well for you. Now, we're going to turn from one of the world's great songs to one of the not great songs in life. And let's pull up Yankee Doodle and let's talk about it. Because I have a lot of students, a lot of times they're like, I don't want to play Yankee Doodle. I don't want you to play Yankee Doodle either. But I want you to know what third position is, and I want you to know what a bar chord is. And so we're going to do that right now. All right, I'm going to do it on ukulele as usual. Everybody who takes these classes is studying ukulele. We do have enough baritone players out there in the world now. And more of you should start to think about, kind of want to have both, right? When you sing, when I sing, which is not very often, I definitely want to have a baritone because it's deeper, right? But in terms of just expanding what you can do without spending that much money, very exciting. All right, so Yankee Doodle, hopefully you know the tune. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step and let the girls be handy. Okay, so it's a stupid song, but it's really cute on many respects. And, wildly sexist, probably, but it's 1755, right? They haven't even let women have the vote yet. It's a war song, and the background on this is a little misty about whether it was written by the British and then adopted by the Americans or what. Lots of anything that goes with patriotism, you can pretty much guarantee that there's going to be a whole lot of not true stories floating around about it. Whatever it is, our job is not to care about the song. Our job is to care about a couple of important techniques. Okay, so first of all, just review your C chord. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on up, and then look at measure 4. You got to change the chord in the middle of the measure. Pony. So you got to be ready for that when you're strumming it. Okay, and then you go right back. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. So there's 4 chords and 4 measures. That's something that's going to get pretty common. You're going to get very comfortable with that. But I want to point out, and I think this is the first song in the book where we have 2 chords in 1 measure. And so you've got to be ready for those. They came up when we were doing the strum along sheets. Those came up that you would change the chord after 2 beats. But it's not written out like that. It's like you're not quite as aware of how dangerous those situations are. We have a couple of songs in book 2 where you have 1 chord per beat, and so you end up changing your chord 5 times in 5 beats. And so that's why we're going to continue to work on that a little bit. It's way overdone in most of the ukulele world about how hard chords and all this stuff is. You'll get it. That's never a problem. It's always more about knowing in advance and having your strategy in place. Like, the only place in the whole song I have to think about that is measure 4. So all I have to do is hold that C until it's time to change it all of a sudden, right? Sudden. And then you just have to be ready for it. That's why you read it through the music in advance, and why I have all these things memorized, because I know exactly where the problems are going to be. All right, so those are your chords. Not a ton to talk about there, other than make sure on G chord your index finger is here, your middle finger is here, and your ring finger is there. When you're in classroom in front of me, I always check this, but when you're online, I don't. It's so easy to get this thing upside down like this, and I don't want you doing that. I need your index finger above, middle finger below, ring finger down here. Okay? All right, next thing, let's play the melody. Now, here's our first thought. It's a C chord, so you would put your ring finger here. That's a bad idea on this song, and so we're going to talk about positional playing really quick. This is a new concept. We've talked about this being your first fret, this being your second, this being your third, and this being your fourth. And you should prefer to use those fingers, index, middle, ring, and pinky, in those frets. Okay? And that's a very good system. On guitar, it's an almost essential system, because then when you get these measures, or these frets all filled up with strings, or when the notes are hanging around down here, you're fine. But what happens when they start to go up the neck? Well, in guitar, we then have 5th position, and then we have 9th position, right? And so it works out pretty slick. On ukulele, we can be a little more flexible with that, because we can reach a whole lot more frets than you can on a bigger instrument. So baritone, you can reach a few less. If you have a soprano ukulele and full-size grown hands, you can reach almost the entire fretboard. But in this case, we see a C chord, we think put our ring finger here. But now look at what happens. It starts on 3 and it shoots all the way up the neck up to 7. So what I want you to think about is starting in 3rd position. So fret 1, fret 2, fret 3 this is 3rd position. Those of you who've had banjo or violin know that your positions are different on those instruments. On ukulele and guitar, is very straightforward. Whatever fret you're in, that's the position you're in. So I'm in 3rd position with this index finger here. Okay, and now I've got, with my ring finger, I can get to that 5 with no problem, and my pinky's going to be able to reach up and get 7 really easily. So I'm not going to have to really move my hand at all until I have to down and measure 6. I got to reach clear up to 8, and at that point I might let go of this finger, right, to reach it, but maybe not. Maybe I can reach it just fine and not let it go. I'm going to leave this stuck in 1st position. Let's play through it really slowly. Leave your index finger on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, ring finger, 5, pinky, 7, 3, pinky, ring, index. Okay, do you see how quickly I just sort of did that bunny hop? But look, I could have started just with this guy covering both strings, and then I wouldn't have had to move anything, right? So let's play those first few measures again. Go ahead and cover this both strings with 1 finger. Okay, go. 3, 3, 5, 7, 3, 7, 5, 3, 3, 3, 5, 7, 3. Now you got a problem, right? You slide back to that 2, 2, slide right back up. 3, 3, 5, 7. Reach to the 8, 8. Back to the 7, 5, 3. And then go back to the 2, 2, 3. Oh, 2. Middle finger, 3, 3. Now, if you look beyond that, and that measures 9 and beyond, everything's back down here in 1st position with the exception of 1 note. Okay, so we're just going to go back and play in 1st position after that. What we're working on here is starting off in a smart upper position and then sliding back into a normal lower position. Okay, so the takeaway here is I don't want to be chasing my pinky all over the place. I don't want to start with my ring finger here and then have to go ring, 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 ring. I don't want to do that. Okay, take a look at the notes that are coming up, and if they make sense, slide into a higher position. One of the things I notice in orchestra when we get newer players in is they're always chasing their pinky all up and down this first string because you have to. And what I try to get them to do is stop doing that and move their whole hand up into the higher positions, just like we do on Yankee Doodle, and then they are much faster and much more likely to hit the right notes. Okay? So let's play the whole thing melody-wise. Well, then we will talk about it on ukulele for the tough uke, and then I will probably play one way or the other on baritone, just so you can hear it. Okay? So for third position, just the melody right now, just use your thumb on your right hand. 1, 2, from the top. 3, 7, 5, 3, 3. 3, slide back. 2, slide back forward. 3, 3, 5, 7, stretch. Pull back. Ring, index. 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 3. And back into the first position. O, middle, O, ring, O, 2, ring, ring, O, ring, index, open, ring, O, 2, O, 3, O, 2, 3, O, 3. Bunny hop, 3, 2. Reach for the 5. Back to the 3. Okay. So that 5 comes up and you're like, right? So jump your pinky finger up, grab that 5 and come back. That's the most I ever want you to chase your pinky. There are a couple of songs that we have that you have to chase it a little bit more, but for the most part, if you have to reach up and grab a 5 and come back, that's not terrible with your pinky. It's when you start grabbing 7s and 8s and 10s that it becomes a real problematic thing for getting the notes correct. Okay, so same thing on baritone. You have exactly the same notes, different key, and exactly the same tablature, different notes and different key. So your goal, one, is just to make sure you can play that smoothly melody-wise. Then let's go take a look at the tough uke, because a number of fascinating things happen when we do that. Everything will be great until we add in one of the more complex chords. So if I'm on the C chord, everything's still the same, right? Look at tough uke. You can do those first measures just like we just did, okay? Go. Strum, 3, 5, pinky, strum, pinky, 5, 3, 3, 3, 5, 7, strum, and then you got to put that G chord on real fast and strum. Okay, pretty challenging. Okay, then go back to your index finger here, strum, 3, 5, 7, and then look at this mess. When you see this, hopefully the semi just comes slamming to a big halt. Smoke comes rolling off the tires. You're like, what do I do here? Now we have your very first bar chord. Okay, if you've been on baritone and you played an F chord in the strumming stuff, you've already done a bar chord. But if you're on ukulele, this is your first bar chord. Okay, let's talk about it. This is your bar. Bump, ba-da-dum, bump, bump, bump. You do not want to do this with index, middle, ring, and then pinky way up here. Okay, you could do that, okay, but you're not going to, because you're going to do what I tell you to do. Okay, this is your bar. It covers all 4 strings on number 1, and then it covers all of the strings on number 2, and all the strings on fret 3, all the strings of fret 4, all the strings of fret 5. Now, pretty good chance when you're doing this at first, it sounds like this. Okay, and that's normal, right? And so just squeeze a little harder. Okay, it's gonna hurt here. It's gonna hurt here. Okay, we're gonna do a whole separate exercise on how to get from this to this in a few lessons. Okay, the bar chording in ukulele is not terrible. On guitar, it's pretty rough, but on ukulele, you'll get it. Okay, don't worry about that. In the beginning, if it sounds kind of crummy, don't spend any time worrying about it. If you play your bar and it sounds like that, that's how you're playing it right now. Let that be that for now. We'll fix it later. Okay, we're trying to get all 4 of them clean. Okay, so that's that stack of 5s. Anytime you see a mess of numbers, the lowest number is where you put the bar. Okay, so those numbers could be anything, but if the 5 was the lowest number, I put my bar on 5. Boop. Okay, and then I only have one other number, and that's an 8. So I got to put my pinky up on 8. Okay. Okay. That's what you're going for. That's an F chord at the 5th fret. Okay. So remember, we have F chord down here, but we can't reach up to 8 and play that F. Right? That's what Jake Shimabukuro does. He's really cool. He can do this, but we can't do this, and we wouldn't want to do that because it's kind of nutso until you're a top. What do they call those guys? A prodigy, one of those guys. We need to find an F chord further up. Now, if you think about this for just a minute, if I have my C chord here and I put a bar on and move it up 1, now it's a C sharp. We're going to do a whole thing on how you name the individual notes coming up. Again, don't worry about it yet. There's C sharp. Then as I move it up 1 more, it's a D. If I move it up 1 more, it's a D sharp. If I move it up 1 more, it's an E. And if I move it up 1 more, it's an F. Okay, so all you're doing is playing a C chord down here with a bar. I'm playing a C chord, but I'm putting a bar on, and I'm sliding it up to the 5th fret. 5, 5, 5, 8. C chord is now an F chord. Everybody's happy. Okay, you can hit that high melody note and have the F chord underneath it. So you've learned 2 important concepts here. Positional playing, which means simply that you're playing up the neck and you're putting your index finger as an anchor somewhere. And bar chords, which means you're going to cover up all the strings with your bar and then add whatever is necessary in front of that bar according to the tablature. Okay, now then the question comes up, why doesn't the chord up above measure 6 there, this F shape, why don't I put this shape in there to help you picture it? Well, because that top line is for singers. We want them to, singers, they just use a plain old regular F chord. Okay, instrumentalists, we got to use the cool F chord. Okay, and you know which one to do based on the tablature. Okay, you know it's an F chord. Eventually you will have no doubt that the F chord is right there. You'll peek at that and you'll see a bunch of numbers and you'll be like, oh, that's a high F, and you'll do it that way. But we don't want to put, until we get into some highly complex sheet music where we're probably not going to have a ton of singers, you doing it anyway, that's when I start putting in the more complicated chord shapes to help us out. But for the most part, I leave the standard open position chords on songs that can be sung because singers don't want to be messing with all of this down here. They want to hold the correct chord and make their mouth do all of the work, and they just need the open chords. I was watching a TV show yesterday, and there was a guy with a guitar singing to some people, and there's 3, just so often when you're seeing a guy on TV singing with a guitar, there's these 3 chords. They all use them, and then they put a capo wherever it fits their voice, and it's the same 3 shapes always. And I think it's what they teach movie actors who are going to be singers playing a guitar. Here's the 3 things you have to know to get through this song, and they do that, and it's over and over and over again. I see it on top level professional performers doing that stuff all the time as well. So you know how singers are. So we've got this bar chord, bar on 5, pinky on 8. Okay, hopefully it sounds like this. Probably going to sound like this. Okay, that's what it sounds like right now. Don't lose sleep over it. And then look, I got a 7 right after that. So just leave the bar. Don't pull the bar up. Hit the 7. Now look, I'm already holding the 5 down underneath my bar. Now I move. Okay, 3. Okay, and I can get with my pinky or my ring, whichever one. But while I'm playing that note, I'm already putting my G chord on. Okay, then I've got the 3 down already. I got to lift up my middle finger to get the 2, the 0, and then put it back to get the 2, and then 2 C chords. Okay, Okay, now we got this F chord, regular F chord. Okay, I'm going to use my ring finger to get the 2, and then I'm going to use an open, and then I'm going to probably put my ring finger here. I might use my pinky sometimes, depends on how I'm feeling. Ring to get that 3, and then a regular F chord at measure 10. Ring to get my 2, and then for sure use your pinky. The lesson we just learned in Brahms Lullaby is F chord with the 3 on the first string. Use your pinky. Okay. Now go back to, and the next note is 003. That goes right back to Spaghetti Monster. Okay, with your thumb resting on the first string. Okay, and then 3 zeros. That's just Spaghetti Monster all over again. Okay, regular F chord. Ring finger to get the 2, and then open. 3 F chord. Pinky. Open. Okay, and now you got your G chord again. Go grab your G chord, 0, 2, 3. Thumb on the first string. Use your pinky to get the high 3. And take it off and play a regular G chord. Reach way up. This is going to hurt for some people, right? G chord, holding the G chord with my pinky up at 5. Okay, and you don't even have to hit the whole chord. Just hit that 1, and then you're going to come back to the C chord. Okay. It is better if you can leave the G chord on and hit the 5, because that means those strings can keep ringing. Okay, even though you're going to hit G chord and then pinky, try not to pull your chord off. And I think that's advice, generally speaking. Try not to pull anything off you don't have to pull off. It's like strip poker, right? You're just trying to keep everybody where they belong, right? And if I don't have to move a finger off, I don't. Okay, and I think that's one thing that I felt like early on. These strings don't ring for a very long time. It's different than a piano where you hit bong and it goes for a long, long time if you're holding the pedal down. Ukulele, you hit a note, it dies out pretty quickly. And so anything you can do to sort of extend the life of your note while you're doing other stuff, it's going to make you sound better and kind of have those sounds overlapping each other, and it'll just sound nicer. Okay, so I'm going to play top to bottom, and you can either listen, don't do that, it's silly. Play the chords, play the melody, try to play Tough Uke with me if you want, whatever works. Your goal is to be able to play Tough Uke by next week anyway, so might as well give it a shot here and see how we do. I'm going to go really slow, then I'll play it on baritone just so we have an opportunity, and then we got to go on to book 2. Time goes fast in these things, doesn't it? All right, from the top, 1. I'm going to use my thumb the whole way through. Those of you who are getting this, also practice with your claw. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not the world's greatest song, but if you play it well, you're like, hey, I don't sound half bad, right? And on some level, you will start to care. This sounds terrible. I hate to tell young musicians this. You'll get where you don't give a crud about the song. Honestly, you just won't. I mean, every song is the same. It's a series of technical skills that you have to execute. And I think that has been one of the more freeing things. Is a lot of times people say, "Oh, I just love your arrangement of this song or that song," and I'll be like, "I don't have any recollection of arranging that song." And it's not that I don't love the music when I'm working on it type thing, but all of the songs end up feeling like this little bit of a crossword puzzle, like this little series of events that you got to put together. Really very fascinating and fun. You do the best you can, keep the skills to a reasonable level, and all of a sudden you have this beautiful piece at the end. Sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it touches people's hearts, sometimes they don't care about it at all. Whatever. You're just enjoying the process of making music. Okay, baritone is, for the most part, I think it looks like I got a few extra down strums in here, but for the most part, it's basically the same exact song. So if you want to play along, if you only have a ukulele, you've got your G chord, dun, 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 dun. D chord we haven't talked about at all. Oh yeah, we did in the strumming book. 1, 2, 3, right? And then C chord. Okay, so you can strum along with me while I do the tough uke on baritone. Okay, if you're on baritone, either play melody or the tough uke. Give it a shot. See what happens. Yeah, it does look like I gave a whole lot more down strums. You can get away with that on baritone because these strings ring really pretty. Okay, 1, 2, ready, play. Probably talked about it, but whatever you hit, whatever the last thing you do on a song is, don't ever let anything up over here. So the last thing here is a chord. This finger's going to be on here. It's never going to move until well after the ukulele is completely gone silent. So always let that last chord, hold on to it forever. Let the ukulele stop it. Don't do this, right, and then stop, right, and try to get the machine to stop. Your audience needs that opportunity to be like, oh, that was lovely. Clap, 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 right? So, all right, so you've got baritone and ukulele, Yankee Doodle. Again, you're not trying to get great at playing Yankee Doodle. You're trying to get great at understanding positional playing and doing one bar chord. We got one bar chord. There's way more bar chords coming. Way more bar chords coming. So let's just enjoy the struggle with this one, and then we will get on to the next set of bar chords sooner than you'll want to. All right, I apologize. I'm kind of trying to get over a cold here, which will not go away, and so please be patient with me as I gurgle my way through the rest of the lesson. All right, book 2. If you're a new player, what do? You play melody, right, or chords, one of the two. If you have been around a while, you should be playing the tough uke. If you've been around a good long time, you should be playing the tough uke with a bit of panache and a little bit of, some skills involved in it. And so let's figure out who you are right now. What was the song? Ash Grove. Yes, Ash Grove is hard. I'm gonna mess it up. You're gonna mess it up. We're not gonna worry about it too much. But it's a kind of, here again, another song that is beautiful but has really dumb lyrics. So I changed the lyrics. Right? The thing about a song from 1802 is it's gonna need a little bit to help it out, and so a lot of times that involves changing the lyrics, adding in some jazz chords, I don't know, doing something to it to make it a little more interesting. Okay. I'm looking it over. I always do this right before I start, right? Like, okay, where's the big problems? Oh, I see a bar chord. I see a bar chord right there in measure 3, right? That's going to be a problem. I see a 10 in measure 1. I got to get all the way down to 10 here. I got to make sure I know it's this one here, right? And then look at what's going on at measure 11. Okay, now measure 11, I got a 9 is my lowest number, but then all those 10s, so I'm probably not going to actually use a bar there. I'm probably going to stick a 9 and then wrap 10s around it. Okay, measure 12, look at that. That's the exact same bar we just did here. We did the bar on 5 with pinky on 8. Now we're just moving that bar up to 7, leaving, but we won't, that feels weird, so we just change it out for your middle finger. Okay, different chord, of course. Now it's a G chord up here. Look at that mess at measure 14. That's going to be this chord. It's a G7 looking chord on the wrong strings. At measure at fret 4 with my pinky on 7. That's what's going to happen there. And yeah, and then in measure 17, you got a bar on 10 and a ring finger, middle finger up there on 11. Okay, that's that G7 really high. Okay, and when we get to baritone, it'll make more sense. But it sounds pretty darn cool on a ukulele. Okay, all right, we played a 1, go back to the top, play down to 17, go back to the top, and then remember we've got to skip at the end of 7, the 3rd time through. We're going to jump to the end of the song. So maybe I ought to try turning on my little foot pedal here, and that will probably make things a little less dramatic. All right. The problem with the foot pedal is sometimes you hit the foot pedal going the wrong way, and then it gets really dramatic because you're on a different song and you're like, wait, none of this looks familiar. Okay, let's see how we do. From the top, 2-beat count in. 1, 2. Top. Second ending. Or, okay, back to the top. Sorry, to the top. Big jump to 18. So you can see it didn't go so smooth. All right, let's hope it goes better on baritone. Have a little bit more room to operate. All right, so I'm grabbing the baritone version. Same song. Let's get it over with. I'm going to hit those chords better this time. Weather's changing down here again, and so we have all this craziness in the instruments. All right, let's give it a try from the top. And if you're on ukulele, just play these chords. They're the regular, beautiful G chord, key of G chords from the top. Top. Where am I? Back to the top. Should have warned you about the jump there. Forgot to do that. That's because I don't have yellow highlighter on it, which, Gary, that's one of the things you teach everybody to do. Do it when you follow your own lesson. All right, there's Ash Grove. Now, I added Danny Boy in, or did we talk about it? I don't know if we talked about it or not. But I don't think we talked. Did we talk about it? We talked about it last week. Let's pretend we talked about it last week, even if we didn't. All right, I'm going to go to Danny Boy. I'm going to start on baritone just because I have it here. If you are on ukulele, you got good chords here, right? You got a C chord, you got an F chord, G7. That's it. There's 3 chords in Danny Boy. Can you believe that? Okay, so you for sure should be able to strum along, even if it's simple, right? Oh Danny boy, the pipes are calling, right? Just keep it simple. It's not supposed to be like we do at ukulele strum-alongs. Oh Danny boy, the pipes are calling. That's how we always do it. Okay, all right. Nice and slow. I'm gonna do the best I can because I didn't look at it this week. That's why I don't know what I'm playing. Oh, there's this beautiful moment. Oh wait, I gotta get it right. Okay, it's absolutely beautiful. And so the second page gets really intense. Look at measure 11. We were talking about Yankee Doodle earlier. Bar on 5, pinky on 8. There it is. You're ready for it. Okay? Alright, from the top, not fast. This is a hard song. It's a 1 beat counting. 1. There it is. Second ending. Okay, you're supposed to play it twice, but you know how it goes. Same thing twice, right? Beautiful piece of music. Oh, I messed up that one chord there. Made me mad. I had good fingering, just didn't get the melody note right. All right, that's how it goes. Let's try it on ukulele. Everything's the same, I think. 8, 9, 10, 12. That's the moment, right? You got to get it right. So, I didn't get it right last time. We'll get it right this time. From the top. 1. Second ending. There we go, right? So, pretty close, pretty close. And we have until, it's the 14th, right? 11th, it's the 11th. You have 6 days, it's the 17th, right? Yeah, you have 6 days. Just play this for 6 days straight and you'll be able to knock out Danny Boy for your Irish stew meal, whatever. That's the one I was looking at. Number 13. Yeah, so number 13. Let's talk about it. Kamos is bringing it up, and I think it's important. Number 13. Okay, that's the moment in the song. Everybody who has ever sung this song will tell you about measure 13. Oh, oh, I'll be, and then your voice has to go, oh, I'll be here in sunshine. That's why most musicians, most singers are not capable of really pulling this off very clear. But you got to start low enough. Oh, I'll be here, right? Way up there. Same thing on the ukulele. 3, 3, 3. Index on 8, middle on 9, ring on 10, pinky way up on 12. It's a really nasty little moment, okay? But it sounds great. Okay, and just listen to it. Just let it ring in your ears. Here. That's it, okay, right? So if I was getting this ready to present to my family on St. Patrick's Day, I would work on, I would have this thing down where I saw it coming up. I said, okay, there's the 3 3s and then the thing, right? So I'd do 3 3 3, Ring, bling. Okay, and I gotta get it so right. Index straight up, middle finger straight up, ring finger straight up, pinky way out there. It sounds so good and it's so right. And then immediately after that, I'm gonna let that ring as long as I can, but then I gotta get to this bar. So hit the bar at the same time. 10 bar, 8, 8, 5, 8. Regular F chord with your pinky. And then after that, you're fine. But you gotta survive that one little section, man. And that little section will make or break you, right? And so that's why, if I were working on this, I don't know how much time I'd spend on even the first page, right? I think I can pull that off. It's this little bit up there at the top. Measures 9 and 11 have kind of a tough moment, but measure 13 is really brutal, right? And so if you can get it, yay, good for you, right? So we'll play it again next week. It'll be after St. Patrick's Day, but then you'll be able to say, you know what, I'm the boss. I can play it 2 days in a row, right? Beautiful, love it, Danny boy. All right, now once you play that for your family, or a hall of thousands of admirers, whatever you're doing, I don't know, then you're going to want to follow it up with another Irish tune. This one's actually Scottish, Last Rose of Summer. So we go down to Last Rose of Summer. We will talk about it today on ukulele. If you have a baritone, play it on your tablature will look exactly the same. I think it does. And then we'll play it both ways next week. Okay, so Last Rose of Summer. It's again a super slow song. 'Tis the last rose of summer. Here's why not being a singer is very bad. 'Tis the last rose of summer, left blooming all alone. Okay, I got no hope of ever singing that. All her lovely companions are now faded and are gone. Okay, so no hope that I can ever sing that, right? But ukulele, no problem. Okay, so we're going to start off with 2, oh, little D chord, 2, 2, 2. Okay, you might want to just use a bar there. 5, 4. Okay. G chord, middle finger up to get the O, and then the D chord. Okay, that's first thought. Okay, bum bum. Notice in the standard notation, it's an 8th note. Bum bum bum. A chord goes all the way back to our strum book. Bum. Rest stroke. Pull your index finger up to get the 2. Bum, bum. So I'm holding the D chord upside down, but who cares? Okay, now I'll fix it. This is the same as before. So you learn it once, you learn measures 1 through 4, and then the 5 through 8 are the same. Okay? Okay. Now then it changes. D chord, pinky, G chord, pinky up on top. Okay, drag your down. Pinky off. D chord. Okay, you see a mess here, right? It's a bunch of a mess. What do we teach? When you see a mess, what's your lowest number? 2. That's where your bar goes. Okay. Then you've got to get a 4 up on the top string. Okay. Don't get this upside down. It's easy to get this upside down. Bar on 2, ring finger on the 4th of the top string, and your pinky finger on the bottom of the 5th, on the bottom string 5th fret. You hear what's going on there? You're having a B minor chord, but you're putting a D chord in a D note in the melody. Pull it back, and then you're already holding the 2 down with your bar. Let it off, and then put it right back on. regular B minor. Okay. And then now that's going to repeat the same as the beginning. And then you repeat. Okay. And here's what's cool. Then the second time you come around, the ending is the same as the first four measures. So you learn that first four measures phrase, and it repeats again and again and again. So it repeats 4 times in the song, and the only time you have to play that middle section is you just play that when you only have to learn that once. So you only have to learn 2 things here: the first 4 measures and measures 9 through 12. And that's my wife taking the dog out. Sorry. Oh, we got to have a notification for everything. So you've got at measure 11, that's your tough one, right? Bar on 2, ring on 4, pinky on 5. Okay, that's really beautiful if you can get it. Okay, and it's the same on baritone. Baritone is a little different because you don't have the high G. It gets a little deeper when you hit those. When you hit that note, all alone, all alone. Oh, I don't know how to sing it, but when you hit alone, it goes bong. It's really nice. So it's a beautiful song. It's very designed to be incredibly slow. I got it set at quarter note equals 80. We will probably play it at about quarter note equals 50. Honestly, it doesn't need to be fast at all. Years and years and years ago, I included this in an Irish medley. It's not an Irish song anyway. And I couldn't get the orchestra to slow down. I couldn't get them to slow down. So finally we just played it like it was a rock song. We just blasted through it and went on to the next thing. Don't do that. Take your time. Be slow. And that's it. That's what I know about our week ahead. Couple of Celtic tunes to make you feel kind of St. Patrick's-y. And get rid of Ashgrove. That's too hard to play. It's beautiful, but it's hard. But Danny Boy is plenty hard to keep you busy this week. Last Rose of Summer, a little easier than Danny Boy. And remember, on the website, jollyroger.com, you've got a bunch of Celtic songs. All of those are going to feel appropriate for St. Patrick's Day. So go take a look at some of those and see if you want to play any of them. All free on book 2, so you don't have to pay anything yet. And if you haven't gotten a membership for Jolly Roger, what are you waiting for, man? You're playing this tough stuff. You might as well play everything. So, all right, guys, thank you for being here. K-Moss, especially, thank you for logging in and saying hey. And that's what I know. You guys have a wonderful evening. Peace.